Okay, so everyone, welcome back to Breslov Efrat here at Shira David, Baruch Hashem. It's another beautiful, beautiful day in Eretz Yisrael. What a bracha to be here. Really, Be'emet, wow. Anyway, so with Hashem's help, of course, we need a lot of siyata d'shmaya to understand Likutey Halachos and how deep it is and how wonderful it is. And so we always ask Hashem for heavenly assistance to understand. And we're in Halacha Hey. We're in Halacha 5, and we're in letter 34, Lamed Dalet, okay? And then we're in the middle of the lesson. This is the third lesson in 34. Balkein hazoken harishon b'mala mikulam. Therefore, the first zaken, he's the greatest one of all of them, right? Why? Because all of them gained from him. All of the other elders gained from him. Hayiver, he was a blind guy. He didn't look and he didn't pay any attention to things of this world. He paid no attention to things of this world. Because he understood that everything that Hashem made is just there because of the chalal haponei, because of that voided space, and because Adam and Chava made that mistake and they ate from that tree, they allowed Amalek to come into that voided space, and everything that we're dealing with in this world is because of that. It all boils down to that tree. It's fascinating. But the Iver, this blind fellow, this great Zaken, that everyone gained from, he didn't look at anything in the world. But we said he wasn't really blind. That's the thing. He wasn't really blind. So all of us can do this. We can all do this. We could stop paying attention to the nonsense of the world and start to pay attention to what's important in life. People will think we're blind. Okay, so what? Who cares what people think? Right? Did he care what people thought? He didn't care what people thought, right? And he was successful, right? That's what we can do also. Mitzvah Hashem. So don't pay any attention to things of this world. Shu b'chinas tikkun einayim. That's the idea, to be mesak in our eyes. Tikkun einayim. It's a very, very important thing. It's a very, very, very important thing. There were many tzaddikim that wouldn't look at women. They wouldn't look at women, period. They would not look at women, period. Okay, that's hard for us to understand. You know, we live in Western society, civilization, right? And it's a little bit hard for us to understand it, but the Torah says, don't pursue after your heart and your eyes. Don't do that. There's a reason for it. There's a very good reason for that. Because in the Torah says, Laman Tizkru as Kol Mitzvah, that you'll be able to remember. If you want to be able to remember your learning, right? People wonder, they say, how come I can't remember? I learned something I can't remember. Are you careful what you see? Are you careful what you look at? Are you careful what you see? And again, many of the Svarim speak a lot about these things. A lot about these things. Many times, we're walking in the street, right? And then, you come out of the train, you come out of whatever it is, and you walk out there, and you see this thing. Hey, what are you supposed to do? What did I do wrong? I I had to go somewhere. I went on the train. I went on the bus. I did what I had to do, right? I needed gas in the car. I had to stop the car. What was I supposed to do, right? So the Ramchal speaks a lot about this, right? The Ramchal speaks a lot about this, and he really says an amazing thing. Really, you have to understand, when you see something the first time, that's a test min hashamayim. Hashem put you in that position to test you, to see what are you going to do now. So if a person will see this, and then he says, that was interesting, I want to see a little bit more about it. So then he failed. Then he failed the test. But if a person saw it and he says, but he turns away and he doesn't look at it, and he doesn't pay attention to what's in that's there to entice him, So then he accomplished the test. He didn't do anything wrong. He did nothing wrong because, again, he didn't choose that this person should come walk in front of his car. He didn't go to a place, right? He didn't walk on a beach, right? If you go on a beach, so then don't tell me, why'd you go there for? Right? Why'd you go there for? Right? But if the person is just walking down the street and someone happens to walk in front of him, did he do anything wrong? No, he's allowed to walk down the street. He didn't do anything wrong. That's the question is, do you look the second time? The first time is free. The second time is that's where you get in trouble on. You understand?
Yeah, how long you look too.
Yeah.
I time it.
No, it's a very important thing to understand. Tikkun Einayim. Especially now the summertime, right? It's amazing. No, but I have to say, Baruch Hashem, when we live over here, we don't have such a problem. Baruch Hashem, I thank Hashem for that. Really.
We have ugly women.
What?
We have ugly women.
It's nothing to do with that. No, we have more modestly dressed women.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, Baruch Hashem. Baruch Hashem. It's a blessing. It's a tremendous blessing. Yeah. Okay. I mean, even when I was living in Yerushalayim, I mean, the things you see on the street, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. It's a pachad. It's scary. It's what's going on. Right? You have to walk down sometimes on Yafo or King George. Right? You go in the Melech. Right? You go in there.
I saw a guy once on Yafo walking, and when he got to where Ben Yehuda was, he put sunglasses on and took out a white stick and went like this across the street. And then folded back up and went on. I was amazed.
The blind man.
Yeah.
David.
Yeah.
He wasn't blind.
He wasn't blind.
He wasn't blind. But he was blind for what he wanted to be blind.
Right.
David, you just described the modern Eber, modern blind man.
Yeah, I saw him do it. And he wasn't trying to get people to give him he wasn't doing it for...
He did it because he wants to be close to Hashem.
You could tell he was a close of a guy,
He took out his stick. Wow.
Yeah, it was a fold-up stick. He whipped it out and...
Wow.
Taught me a lesson, really.
Wow. Yeah. That's amazing. You see certain tzaddikim that, when they go in the street, they won't wear their glasses. Right? They don't wear glasses. They need glasses. They don't wear their glasses, and they because they don't want to... Yeah, no, that's all. Listen, these things are between oneself and Hashem. There's like Chazal say, Yodei inish b'nafsha. Everyone knows their own self inside. You can't fool yourself, right? You can't fool yourself. Okay, so Misham Achizas Kol HaZekenim, all the Zekenim, all of the elder ones grew and gained from him, because that's the beginning premise. That's where it starts. The Tikkun Einayim. All the other Zekenim were able to remember what they were able to remember. But if you don't have you're not watching your eyes, you won't remember anything. So I mean, that's really the beginning. That's the beginning. What's a good word to use? The beginning.
Initial
recollection. It comes from that. That's connected to the 8 scriptures, parchments, 8 parshas that are in the Tefillin, right? We have 4. Here he's going to say here. Until the 8th one that he remembered when they cut the umbilical cord. And we spent a lot about the umbilical cord. Yesterday we were talking about the umbilical cord is skin, right? Is skin, right? It's high, and we said that the tefillin, the most beautiful idea, the tefillin has to be made from a kosher animal, right? It had to be an animal that it had the ability for you to eat it, right? It could have been that the animal died. It could have been that the animal was a treifa, right? They slaughtered the animal and they saw that there was a problem with the lung. They saw that there was okay. or whatever happened to it, or whatever.
But they can still use the skin.
You can use the skin. Doesn't matter, unless it was a whole. Unless it was it had to be a pure animal. So if it was a goat, it was a cow, it was a sheep, it was a deer, anything like that, even a giraffe, right? Even though we don't know how to slaughter a giraffe. That's why we don't have the Masorah. That's why we're not going to eat a giraffe. But a giraffe is still a kosher animal. There's no question about it. There's no question about it. Okay, so and what
that beautiful hide on the Torah you gave the shul.
That was deer. That's deer. That's deer. Yeah, that's
Beauty.
deer. Yeah,
Beauty.
that's beautiful. Yeah, beautiful skin. Yeah, Baruch Hashem. But here's the main point. Here's the main point. So he said, why is that? Why is it that you can take any skin from any animal that was pure, that had the possibility, even if it died or this or whatever it is, it doesn't matter. You could still use it. Why is that? And what do we learn from that? That's to show us that every Jew, no matter how far he's fallen, it doesn't matter. So long as he's a Jew, he's pure. So long as he's pure, he can work on himself. He can fix himself. The same way you take the skin from the animal and it stinks. And it's nothing you want to touch. It's nothing you want to deal with. But when you work it, and the tanner works on it, and he works on it, it turns into something beautiful. It turns into something beautiful. And it takes out the stench. It doesn't have that stench anymore. So we said that what's the stench, David? The stench is whenever a person still has his desire for worldly things, that's the stench. So the more we work on removing our desires for worldly things, we purify ourselves. And that's why the tefillin have to be made from a kosher animal. It doesn't matter what happened to it. The same way it doesn't matter where the Jew has fallen. He can work on it. He can bring himself up. He can come to be the greatest of the great. And like Chazal tell us, "B'mokim balei tshuva oimdim, ein tzadikim gemurim yechaylim loimik." That even the place that the Baal Tshuva stands, right? Because again, and that's the most important thing to understand, that someone fell down and they went to where they fell. But yet they said, you know something, I made a mistake, Hashem. I made a mistake. I want to come back. That's so precious to Hashem. That's so precious. That I fell down and I admit that I made a mistake. And I come back to Hashem. Hashem says, boy, do I want you back. Hashem he desires everyone to come back. Everyone to come back. People don't know this. That's the problem. People don't know this. And they just think that they're stuck and they can't get out. But you learn from the tefillin that you can get out. You take the skin. And that's what we said about the tabar, the umbilical cord. The mother is connected to the baby by that piece of skin. That's all it is, right? That's all it is. But the continuity of the generation, from generation to generation, is via that skin, right? The baby, it gets its sustenance, right? The baby gets its oxygen. The baby gets all its waste removed through that piece of skin. Unbelievable, right? What a miracle. What a miracle. It's beautiful. It's unbelievable. Right? And that's the skin. The tabar. That's the whole place that the tefillin, the light of the tefillin, is drawn from. The same way all of the other zikanim gained from the Iver, the blind beggar, because again, that was the beginning premise to becoming holy. So too the whole tefillin, all of the tefillin, come from the same idea. From the tefillin come from this idea, from the skin that was worked on, that was made holy, that was made amazing. And that's where the light comes from, because it was worked on. You take something. We learned about this before. You know, someone would think that tefillin is so great, so I'll make them out of gold. I'll make my tefillin out of silver, right? I'll make it out of some precious stone, right? I'll carve out some precious stone. No. It has to be something that wasn't nice, that was pure, that wasn't nice, that was worked on. That's what Hashem wants from us. Because this is the way it's explained in the Eitz Chaim. Okay, Sha'or ha'inayim, the light from the upper eyes, Niskala, is revealed meitabar lamata, from the outside, from the umbilical cord down. We said that's the mother to the child. Lamala lamata, right? The mother is higher, right? The generation before. The son is one lower, right? And the mother illuminates to the son. From the place of the olam hanikudim, sheyodu mi'aynayim al yonim, that come from these upper eyes, bekiblu, and they accept extra light. Achakach mishiboiles ha'azake, from the hair that's below the mouth, and again from the beard. Sheniskala l'chutz rak mitabar lemata misham. V'ikra ascholas ishavos hakelim ayin sham heitev v'hoven. Ikra ishavos hakelim hu lasais kelim v'tzimtzumim lahasig yelekusa yizbarach. The main thing is, all this that we're learning is to make the vessels in order to attain understanding of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's all it's about. Making the vessels to understand HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Unreal. And therefore through this high zaken, the high elder, that was the blind one. He didn't look at anything of this world. He paid no mind to anything of this world. Al Yodai, through him, tikkun bechinas pagamenayim. That's how the tikkun, for the blemish that we made with our eyes, the things that we saw that we shouldn't have seen. It comes through that, by now not looking at things. Is how we make the tikkun for the pagamenayim. Shehu, which is what? Shoirish, that's the beginning, pigam kol hachatoyim sheb'Torah. Because again, all the sins of the Torah come from this idea. The sins of the Torah come because I look at something, and then it seems interesting, and I want the thing. Because I look at it. All the sins from the Torah come from the pagamenayim, from the blemish of what I see. All sin. You hear this? All sin. Because if I don't see it and I don't pay attention to it, I won't get involved with it. Shein bechinas shviras kelim. That's the idea of the breaking of the vessels. In other words, when I look at something that I shouldn't see, I'm breaking another vessel. I'm supposed to be making vessels, not breaking vessels. Right? We want to make the kelim. That we said when we take the light, the upper light, right? When we take the upper light and I connect it down to the lower light, that's making the vessel to understand Hashem. But when I look at something I shouldn't see, I break the vessel. Because all sin come from the blemish of the eyes. As it says in the parasha, we say in the Kriya Shema, don't pursue after the desires of your heart, and after your eyes. Right? Don't pursue after the eyes and the heart. Liba ve'ena trei sisure the avera. The heart and the eyes are two are two
brokers is here.
well, brokers or two assistants. Conduits. We like conduit. That's a good word. They're conduits for Aveira, for sin. And therefore, that elder, that he sanctified his eyes. Like you said, your story, David. You saw that man. He takes off his regular glasses. He puts on those big dark glasses, right? He made himself into the Iver in this world. A modern day, a modern one. And they close their eyes from looking from things of this world. They don't want to see anything. Legamri. And therefore, the repair for what was damaged through the eyes comes through the Iver, through this blind person, through the repair of the eyes. If I damage something from my eyes, I can repair it with my eyes by not looking at it the second time. Wow. You see how nice Hashem is to us? You see how good Hashem is to us? Unbelievable. Because he sanctified his eyes. He made holy his eyes more than all of them. And therefore he's called the Zaken Elyon. He's called the supernal elder. Why is he the supernal elder? That comes from the time of being ancient. Because all repair comes from this way. So you hear what we're learning? If a person wants to fix his Yiddishkeit, he wants to get close to God, the first thing he has to do is work on the eyes. What do I see? What do I see? If I fix that, everything else will follow suit. It starts with that. Any questions? No? It's an amazing lesson how Rav Noson's putting this together again, showing us through the story. You see this through the story. It's so beautiful how Rav Noson's drawing all these lessons out of that story. Who would have ever thought of that when you read that story? You could read that story. I could read that story 100 times, 120 times, 150 times, 200 times. But if I don't have the teaching to Rav Noson here, how would I ever understand this? How would I understand that he's really the greatest of the great because he was the blind guy? Because he was making the repair of all the vessels. And through repairing all of the vessels, that's how I can recall what I need to recall. You understand? Unreal. Oh, the godless of Rav Nosson. And of course, Rabbi Nachman, of course, it's his story. Rav Nosson teaches us, he brings out the beauty. It's unreal. It's unbelievable. V'al kain, hatfilin hu al or. And therefore the tefillin are made out of hide. Skin, hide. Of what? Of an animal. Ki or hu bechinas chitzonius de chitzonius. We said that the skin, you hear this, David? The skin is the external of the external. What does that mean, the external of the external? You know, even on our skin, we have so many layers of skin, right? There are so many layers of skin, right? And the skin is what keeps everything together, right? If we don't have our skin, then the blood vessels will pop out, everything will pop out, right? You need the skin that holds everything back. But the skin is really the external of the external because there's so much inside, right? There's so much going on inside, but I don't see it. All I see is what's on the outside. That's the skin. That's all I see, the outside.
Amazing.
And that's the seichel. That's what we're talking about, the external mind, the small-mindedness. Comes from the same idea. When a person is a small-minded person. That's the tachlis and the mechitza. That's the division. That's what divides the inner with the outer. That's how you divide the inner with the outer. The skin. That's what divides it.
What's the atik?
Ancient.
Ancient. Okay.
Like Atik Yamin, the ancient times.
Okay.
And that is the separation from one creation to the other creation. Because again, if we didn't have the skin, I couldn't hold your hand, right? We couldn't have a rikud, right? How do I connect that? What's the separation? How are we separated? We're contained via our skin. That's what contains us. If we didn't have that, we wouldn't. There would be nothing. Ubein oilam li-oilam. And we said it comes from one world to the other. We said yesterday that the one world to the next world of it. You hear this beautiful idea? The upper worlds are connected with the same idea of the tabar, the same idea of the umbilical cord. One world to the next. We said that the upper world has the netzach, hoid, and the yisoid, which is the umbilical cord to the lower world that it connects to it, and it gives it its life force from that part. Bein oilam li oilam, v'derech sham b'keya or, and through that place, the light breaks through, the light pierces through. V'yoytze derech nikvei or, and it goes through the pipeline of the or, and that's how the light goes from one world to the next, through that pipeline. Me'olam li'olam, from one world to the next, like we explained yesterday. We just explained it a little bit better now. That in other words, that tabar, that umbilical cord from one world to the next, that's how the light filters through. It goes from one world to the next through that tabar. The same way the baby gets all its nutrients. It gets its oxygen. The baby gets all its waste from everything happens through the umbilical cord. So to the world. And therefore we write the holy scriptures, the writings of the Tefillin. These are the holy names of Hashem. Each one of the words in the Torah, all the words in the Torah are Hashem's names. Did you know that? All the words in the Torah are Hashem's names. Arba shtayim askaros. Do you notice in the Tefillin? You hear this? You have 42 references to Hashem's name in the Tefillin. 21 in the Rosh and 21 in the Yad. 42. How many journeys did we take in the desert?
42.
42 journeys, right? 42 journeys. Isn't that amazing? That's the journeys of our life. The 42 journeys. That's the journeys of our life. 42 references of Hashem's name. Al-Gabe Or. And where is it written? It's written on the parchment, the skin of the animal. Where is it remembered? Where is it recalled? On the skin of the animal. You hear this? It's amazing. Gashmi shel behema. It's physical, it's coarse, from an animal. You're taking the loftiest names of God, and where are you writing it on? On a piece of parchment that was part of a smelly animal. Think about it. It's mind-boggling, isn't it? You take Hashem's names, the loftiest names, and it's written on the hide, the skin of an animal. The chitzoni of the chitzoni, the external, the external, the external. Because we're taking this light from the highest places down here. Betachlis hagashmius hakelim, in the most coarse physical thing in the world. We're taking the highest light and putting it in the most coarse thing. Shem bechinas chitzonius, the chitzonius, the external of the external. Shul bechinas or, it's skin. What is it? And but through that I can attain godliness. I can attain godliness. What do we have to learn from this? What we learn from this is we have to work on ourselves to make ourselves worthy, to be people, to be holy people, that God's name can be upon us as well. But only if you work on yourself. You hear this? Is this amazing? This is the most beautiful lesson. This is the most beautiful lesson. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says you could take my names and write it on that piece of parchment. And where did it come from? The animal? It wasn't the mind of the animal. It was the skin, the external of the external. Badarga mida. But if you do it in the right measure, in the right way, and you work on yourself, and you work on the skin, the hide of the animal, and I could fix all the external things that I was enticed with before, that seemed interesting to me before. I can fix it. It's all of that koyach hamedama, that imagination. What I perceived, oh, this is great. I need it. I saw that. I need more of that. Nonsense. Nonsense. Bechinas hamedama agashmi. Sheyuchlo lahachnis gam emuna shlema. You could put emuna into that gashmias. You can infuse emuna into the gashmi. That's where the kedusha of the tefillin is, because you worked on it. You made it something special. That's the real kedusha. That's what makes it the possibility to become the tefillin. Shemekablin, that we take mizokin elyon, that come from that Eva, the blind beggar. And that's what we said, that the blind beggar, all the other ones, the 7 lower ones, the other 7 other ones, I shouldn't say lower ones, the 7 other ones, the 7 other ones gained from him, from the blind beggar. They gained from him, because that's the beginning. That's where it starts. Tikkun einayim, fixing the eyes. Fixing the eyes, which is the chitzonis, looking at all the external things. That includes all of the elders and all of the intent, the mayach, the mindset of the tefillin themselves. Shehu metaken hakol. That's how he can fix everything. And this is the finishing. We finished now lesson Lamed Dalet. This was I'm telling you, it's the most remarkable lesson. How Rab Nosson draws this out of the story. It's mind-boggling. I'm telling you, it's mind-boggling. It's unbelievable. If you think this through, how he takes this lesson, he connects it to the tefillin, to the skin, to the chitzayni, to the external, to the medama, to our imagination. He connects the imagination. What I see, I imagine, because I saw this thing, now I imagine that that's what I want. Where does it come from? All of the eyesight. It comes from the eyesight. The chitzayni. Do you have any questions on this? I'm telling you, this is unbelievable. You can learn this 150 times, 1,000 times. How important this is.
Do dreams come from what we have seen?
Yes,
also?
yes, sure. Yeah, the Gemara in Brachos talks about that. Yeah.
Much more than what you hear.
Yeah. Yeah, more what you saw, because it's visible.
Yeah.
The the eyes are connected to the heart, like the Torah says. The Torah tells us that the heart is binded together with the eyes, right? The eyes see, the heart wants, the heart desires, you look more. The heart tells the eyes, look more. What starts with the eyes, what the eyes saw. Then the heart wants it, right? No, this is what we're learning, guys. This is what it is. We have to work on it, and we have to work on it and work on it. And I'll tell you, this is where you can see the greatest bang for your buck. Do you want to know what you want to invest in to get close to Hashem? Tikkun einayim.
It's a hard one.
No pain, no gain. It's only hard if we... No. It's only hard if we have that old mindset. If we're stuck in that old mindset, that What do you mean? But I need to see this. This is what
I looked at this my whole life, and I like looking at it.
I like it. Yes, I like look. But wait a second. But what's it doing? It's holding me back from what I want to accomplish. It's holding me back. Right? Right? People get older, right? And the doctor says, you were eating this and that. You can't eat it no more. It's going to kill you. Right? 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 The doctors say that, right? They say, don't eat that, right? Hey, I'm doing this all my life. Hey, now stop. It's going to kill you spiritually. Which spiritually kills you physically. It's one and the same. It's one and the same. Right?
Beautiful.
All right, so let's go on. Can we have a couple more minutes? We'll start 35. Okay. Yeah, because we have to move on. Baruch Hashem. So now we're going to learn about the idea that the skin can be from both either a nevela, can be from an animal that died, or a treifa, an animal that didn't have the right requirements. Right? It wasn't halak. It wasn't smooth, the lid, the lungs, okay? All right, now the Rebbe says like this now. Look at this now. Al kain sarach sheyia or shel behema v'chaya tohira daika. Again, Reb Nosson going to teach us this again. Guys, I want you to know this. I want you to know this. That the skin, that the hide that you use for the tefillin has to be from a pure animal. Mimin hamuta lepicha. Something that was a possibility for you to originally eat. You hear this? Right? So it was a cow, it was a goat, it was a deer, it was a sheep. Right? An animal that you could eat. Right? It can be slaughtered. It can be a chicken, a turkey, whatever it is. Anything that you're able to eat, you can use for the tefillin. Anything. It can be from an animal it doesn't matter, but it can't be from an impure animal. From an animal that's not pure. It can't be from that animal. Right, we learned that in the Tanya talks about that a lot. He talks about the idea that you have the sholish klipas tameas, right? You have the three of the impurity. If it's from the side of impurity, it can't be fixed. You can't do anything with it. But if it's from the side of holiness, it can be elevated. And also the skin, the hide, has to be worked lishma. When they make it, they have to have the right intent, the right mindset. The person working on it, he has to have in mind that this is going to be used to make stam. We said, what stam? Sefer Torah, tefillin, mezuzahs, right? Lishma lekedushas hatefillin. In this case, we're learning about tefillin. I'm making this to make tefillin. I'm going to make the ritzuas, the straps on the tefillin. They're going to teach me the erech hapayim. That have to be slow, take things easy in life. Don't get upset. When the guy's working on his strap, when he's working on the leather, he has to think of that. Unbelievable. He's making the boxes for the tefillin. There's going to be that mabarta, that bridge, that's to help me to connect everything in life. Making his tefillin. He's making the skin. He's working on it. Lishma, I'm making tefillin. Because it's impossible to accept upon yourself to benefit via the light of the mayach of the tefillin, the mindset of the tefillin. You have to work your own skin. You have to work your own body completely. You have to rework yourself. You hear this? We have to work ourselves over. We have to give ourselves a good work over. I shouldn't have any, there should be no trace. I think that's the right word to use. There shouldn't be a trace, even of any taiva, of any desires of this world left in me. If I really want to connect to my tefillin, if I really want to feel it, if I really want to understand what Rav Nosson's teach me, this is what you have to do. Shafilu reach pa'alma. Not even a scent. Not even an odor. Nothing. No foul odor coming. Mayhem. Lo nishabay should not be remaining. And therefore Rabbi Nachman was so critical about this. In his holy talks, is he says in Chai Maran, in his beautiful book Chai Maran, in Reish Lamed Dalet, it's in lesson 232, 234. V'ama shetzrichin la'abed es haguf k'may or shema'abdin oisay heitev. You have to work your body over the same way that the tanner works the leather over. Wow. That means you have to really work on it. Until you can have eyes and your vision can be perfectly clean. The Rebbe said there were so many of them that broke the taiva of their guf. There were many people that broke the taiva. They broke that desire from their body. But it's like a skin that still has the foul odor. They didn't use the chemicals to get rid of the foul odor. Yeah, they worked the skin. The skin looks good. So long as you have your nose pinched. Right? You have your nose pinched, it looks good. Right? But if you open your nose, you start, whoa, what's that foul odor? If we would only understand the foul odor of a sin, we don't understand that. We can't smell that. We don't know. But there's such a foul stench that comes from any sin. That's what we learned. Remember we were learning before, Nerdi Nosan Reach. Remember this idea? David, listen to this. Remember we learned this idea? When a Jew comes to the tzaddik, the big tzaddik doesn't tell the Jew, forget about everything of your past. He doesn't tell him. He takes this pleasant odor and he places it over all of the sin. He places a pleasant fragrance over the sin. Remember we learned that? Why does he place the pleasant odor, fragrance over this sin? So that way the Jew can work on tshuva. He can work on tshuva. And he can work on being mahapech, to transform all of the sin into blessing. All the sin can turn into merits. But again, that's why the tzaddik can take the pleasant aroma and put the pleasant aroma over the sin. You know, I lived in New York for many years, and there was in Staten Island. You know Staten Island? You heard of Staten Island? Yeah, you heard of Staten Island? Yeah. Staten Island was a garbage dump. Right. Staten Island was a garbage dump, not much a garbage dump. I love this. I'm telling you, when I started learning this, I was thinking about it. It was unbelievable. What did they do with Staten Island? They took all kind of fragrance and all kind of things, and they kept dumping it on the thing, so there's certain stench. There shouldn't be an odor. That's what they did. It was mamish garbage. Years. They're dumping trillions of tons of garbage. And they're compacting it. That's us. That's us. All of our trash. All of our stuff is compacted. It's junk. It stinks. We go to the tzaddik, and the tzaddik puts all the beautiful fragrance over that. So we can deal with the odor. Because now we know it stinks. We didn't know it stank. We didn't know. Our nose was closed. We didn't know. But as you learn more. The nose gets open. You start to smell it. The tzaddik puts nice fragrance over it. So that way the tzaddik will teach us how to do tshuva. That's what we're learning, right? The tzaddik will teach us how to do tshuva so that we can transform that stench, all that junk, all that garbage, all of that stuff into diamonds, into jewels. You understand? Yeah. Into diamonds and jewels. So they shouldn't stink. They should have no stench. You see, we should look in Chai Maran, lesson 234. This is what Rabbi Nachman's talking about. You have to purify yourself that there's no stench. No stench. Let's just finish the line. Work the body over so good There's no foul odor from any ill desire that the person has anymore. It's gone. It's gone. He works on the same way that they work on the tefillin, and they take that hide, and they make the hide beautiful, and they make the hide smell nice. It smells nice, but what was it? That's us, mamish. That's mamish us. We also weren't looking so nice, but we were pure. That's the point thing. We're pure, and we can be worked on. All right, everyone, we'll stop over here. Kol tuv.